I was going to talk a little bit about achieving your goals and just a little bit tonight. I went live here a couple nights ago and did some sharpening. But yeah, so we'll probably keep it a little short tonight. Just got a lot of stuff going on. But I went on a run this morning and I was sitting there thinking, so I'm doing a lot of zone 2 running, which zone 2 running is a pace that um, is slow, conversational pace, should be easy effort. And I got to thinking about why a lot of people don't accomplish their goals. And there's a lot of research out there on zone 2 running and building your aerobic base for things like marathon races, half marathons, 10Ks, even 5Ks. So, and I kind of think the principle applies to other things in life, right? So it was always kind of frustrating when I was younger, playing sports. There were some players that just didn't really seem to try very hard, and they were kind of naturally gifted and made good progress. And then you got people that have to work real hard and overcompensate, and it's a lot of work to improve for some people. And the older I get, I kind of wonder if it isn't because trying too hard doesn't get you results sometimes like trying less hard. You know, and we've seen it like a lot of things in life. If somebody's trying to make friends and they're trying really hard, it shows. If somebody's trying to really hard, pretend like they're some expert in something, it shows. And I'm sure that you've seen in your life times where people are just trying really, really hard, and yet um, it it just shows that they're not there yet. So, um, basically, the problems that a lot of runners have when they're trying to achieve goals such as like a marathon is if you go out there and you run too hard. Um, in training, you want both easy runs and you want some hard runs. But in the middle is kind of a gray area where you're running too hard to accomplish building an aerobic base, but you're not running hard enough to build your anaerobic, your threshold. And so even though you're working really hard, you're not making a lot of progress. And, I think about that like paying off debt or something. Um, a lot of times if we have debt, we're like working hard to pay it off, and we try really hard for a little while, and we don't see much progress, or we see progress, but then we lose it, right? And so I've done this before, you just kind of lose hope and feel like it's just not working. Consistency is what it takes to make progress in life. And sometimes, um, we need to try a little less hard and just be more consistent about it. But most people are too concerned with what others are seeing, what others are perceiving about us. Especially like running. A lot of people run on things, where Strava and, I'm on Strava and I've got a Garmin watch and it's got all these stats. And it's kind of interesting because, in some ways I say I have to work really hard to be less than average because I run more miles than well, I'll look at my app, but it might say like, you run more miles than 85% of other runners on here. And then like if I can go to pace, and it's like, you run slower than, you know, you run faster than 15% of the users on here or something like that. And so, um, what's the saying? Figures don't lie, but liars figure. And a lot of times, those metrics that you see are skewed. It doesn't tell you like how hard that person was working, or a lot of people when they're running for Strava, they stop their run the minute they stop and walk, or they run real hard, and just like you can do things to skew the numbers and make it look good. So, um, yeah, I was just thinking about that this morning, and a lot of things when let's say sharpening, for example. Sometimes you try really, really hard, but the real trick is learning that easy effort, the proper effort, because so many times we put forth more effort than is needed to really be accomplishing our goals. So, anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I was thinking about, times in my life where I've tried really, really hard on things, and you come back at it later, and I don't know if it's just the more you know or just time, but a lot of times when you figure stuff out, you're like, man, I made that way harder than it needed to be. So, yeah. Any thoughts? Let's see. I'm not seeing any chat pop up, but if you guys, yeah. So today, just for example, today my average run pace was like 13 minutes a mile or something like that. And most people would be too embarrassed to uh, have something like that show up. But it's the pace at which my aerobic capacity is at right now. It is what it is. So, but I have faith in the process. I've studied enough other runners that, and I've heard enough about zone 2 training to know that if you stay in the proper zone and you build your aerobic base, and the thing is, the big thing is, you're not going to see results for, you're not going to see results in weeks. You're going to barely see some results in months. And really, from some stuff I've heard, you can see progress for as much as like 10 years into running. So it's crazy to think that it takes that long to really build, but also many things in life are that way. It takes a long time to really make progress. I'm soon to be what, 47? And I remember when I was younger, there was a lot of things that I wanted. And if I could go back and tell my younger self, it's just be patient. Be patient and enjoy where you're at, because before you know it, you'll be where you want to be. And you're probably going to find out it's not what you thought. So, um, if I ran harder, I could see faster results sooner. However, the results I'm looking for isn't the quick and the easy results for right now. I'm looking long term. Making a knife. What type would feel sharper? A knife with a 15-degree edge with a .2 thou thickness behind the edge, or a knife that's 30-degree edge with a 100 thou thickness behind. Edge, or what you prefer for every day. So, the so a lot of like, it depends. Like, I don't know, what are you going to do with it every day? I prefer slicey, sharp knives that I have to be careful with because I would prefer to have the edge that is a zero grind or, 5 thousandths behind the edge uh, versus a 10, 15, 20 thousandths thick edge that I put a knife on or a edge on. However, most people are going to damage a knife like that. They're going to just damage it. They're going to use it for something that they shouldn't use it for, and they're just going to damage it. So then they're going to sharpen it back, and it's going to end up with a thicker edge. So um, the edge that you sharpen it is going to make it feel sharper, regardless. If it's a lower angle on the edge, regardless of the thickness behind the edge, it's going to feel sharper. So um, you're just going to end up damaging it. So a lot of my, like the drop point hunter knives that I make, um, I take them down to about 20 thou before I sharpen them. Uh, some, if I was making a neck knife or something, I would take it down to 15, maybe 10 thou before I sharpen it. I'm not typically taking them down to a zero edge, although I have. And yeah, so it all depends on the knife, the user, and what it's getting used for every day. So hope that answers your question. Thanks for the question. I think it's Devin. Yeah. So anyways, that's where we're at. I think that's I've got a lot of stuff still to get done tonight. And I just wanted to jump on here and share some thoughts with you. Yeah, we'll see you next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. I should have, we'll see. Oh, those steak knives that I finished up, I finally put them on the site, and they went like hotcakes. They sold out quick. I was kind of surprised. Not really, but I was kind of surprised. I wasn't sure. Um, I was happy. They sold out quick. I was kind of disappointed because I kind of hoped to keep one, but that's how it works. I got in some leather sheaths this week, and I'm going to be, for my limited edition knives for my stakeholders. So now I just need to get the knives done. They are getting close, and I was waiting on those sheaths. So now that I have them, I'm going to start getting some of those limited edition knives up and going. So, yeah. Thanks for tuning in. This is Patrick with MT Knives. You guys have a great night. Let's see. Any plans on doing a Wharncliffe blade or something similar? This next batch of 100 knives that I'm working on for my stakeholders is a bird and trout knife. I've done some Wharncliffe. I don't know how soon I'd do some more. But if you're in the market, send me an email. I'll see. I'm not making any commitments. I've got some orders that I have to get taken care of. uh, I never get as many knives done as I'd like to get done, and it takes a lot of time. So, looking forward to getting some knives done and getting some classes put together. Come take a class. Make your own Wharncliffe. That's what I should do. Um, I am hoping to put together some classes by the end of the year and do that. Any plans? Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. This is Patrick with MT Knives. Have a great night.